I found black mold creeping behind my bathroom mirror last March. Cleaned the whole thing for less than $1. The bottle was sitting right under my sink the entire time. Same brown bottle my mother kept next to the dish soap 40 years ago. 3% hydrogen peroxide, the kind you can pick up at any dollar store for about $1. Number 12 on this list pulled a smell out of my carpet that I had been fighting for 2 solid months, and number 9 stopped an ant trail cold before it reached my kitchen counter. That little bottle does the work of a dozen products the cleaning aisle wants to sell you one at a time. And some of what it can do they would really rather you did not know about. Here are 20 hydrogen peroxide tricks that kill mold, ants, and odors, starting with number 20. Number 20. Spray shower grout to kill mold at the root. Most people see black mold creeping along their shower grout and reach for a bottle of grout cleaner that costs $8 or $9. Those products work on the surface. They bleach the color out so it looks clean, but the mold is still alive underneath, and it comes back in a week. Here is what I do instead. I fill a spray bottle with plain 3% hydrogen peroxide, the kind you get at any drugstore for about $1. I spray the grout lines until they are soaking wet, and I leave it alone for 10 minutes. The peroxide soaks in and kills the mold below the surface through oxidation. It breaks down the roots. After 10 minutes, I scrub with an old toothbrush and rinse. The grout cleaner companies have known for years that peroxide does this. But a $1 bottle you buy once does not keep a customer coming back every month. Number 19. Wipe out ant trails to destroy their road map. When ants march across your kitchen counter in a line, they are not following each other by sight. They are following a chemical trail, a scent path that the first ant laid down for the rest. Kill the ants, and the trail stays. More ants follow it the next morning. Pest control companies love this because it means repeat visits. Here is the trick. Spray hydrogen peroxide directly on the trail and wipe it clean. The peroxide breaks down the pheromone chemicals on contact through oxidation. The trail is gone. The next wave of ants hits your counter and has no idea where to go. I do this every time I see a line forming, and it stops the March cold. You do not need a contract with a pest service to erase a scent trail. You need a $1 bottle and a paper towel. Number 18. Soak musty towels to kill the smell at the source. If your towels come out of the dryer and still smell sour, the problem is not your detergent. It is bacteria living deep in the fibers that your washing machine cannot reach on a normal cycle. Fabric softener companies want you to believe the fix is a stronger scent. All that does is layer perfume on top of mildew. You end up with a towel that smells like lavender and mildew at the same time. Fill your sink or a bucket with warm water and pour in a cup of hydrogen peroxide. Let the towels soak for about 30 minutes. I want to stop here just a moment. For the folks who want more tricks like these all written down in one place, I put together a little guide called Grandma's Grocery Playbook. It has the best of what I have learned over the years, organized so you do not have to scribble notes while you watch. It is on my website, frugalfrannie.com. That is the only time I will mention it. If you want it, it is there. Now back to the list. The peroxide gets into those fibers and kills the bacteria causing the odor. Then wash them like normal. They come out smelling like nothing, which is exactly how a clean towel should smell. I do this once a month with my bath towels and my kitchen towels, and the sour smell has not come back since I started. Number 17. Spray the vegetable drawer in your refrigerator to kill mold and odor at the source. That crisper drawer at the bottom of your fridge collects moisture from every head of lettuce and bag of grapes you put in there. A forgotten bell pepper turns soft, leaks juice into the corners, and within a week you have mold growing in a place where you store food. The appliance companies sell drawer liners and odor absorbers. You do not need any of that. Take the drawer out, dump it in the sink, and spray every surface with hydrogen peroxide. Let it sit for 10 minutes. The peroxide kills the mold spores and breaks down the organic residue that causes the smell. Wipe it clean, dry it completely, and slide it back in. I do this once a month, and my produce lasts noticeably longer because it is not sitting in a drawer full of bacteria from whatever rotted in there last time. One spray keeps the drawer clean and your vegetables out of the trash where they do not belong. Number 16. Kill the mold hiding in your bathroom caulk. That thin black line along the edge of the tub or the base of the shower is not dirt. It is mold growing inside the silicone caulk, and scrubbing it with a sponge does nothing because the roots sit underneath the surface. Soak a few strips of cotton or paper towel in hydrogen peroxide and press them tight against the caulk line. Leave them there for a couple of hours, or overnight if the staining is deep. When you pull them off, the mold is dead, and most of the discoloration lifts with it. I do this around my tub twice a year, and the caulk still looks like the day it went in. The mold sprays they sell for bathrooms run several dollars a bottle, and most of them reek of bleach so strong you have to open a window. Peroxide does the same job, costs almost nothing, and the only thing you smell is a faint, clean fizz that disappears in minutes. Number 15. Get the mildew smell out of old books and stored papers. A box of books from the basement or the attic can smell so strongly of mildew that you do not even want to open the lid. That smell is alive. It is mildew spores feeding on the paper fibers and the old glue in the binding, and every time you crack the cover, you send more of them into the air. Pour a small amount of hydrogen peroxide onto a clean cloth, wring it until it is barely damp, and wipe the covers and the edges of the pages lightly. Do not soak the pages. You want just enough moisture to reach the spores on the surface without warping the paper underneath. Then stand the books upright with the pages fanned open and let them air dry in a room with good airflow, not direct sunlight. The peroxide kills the mildew spores that cause the smell without soaking through the paper or leaving a chemical residue behind. I rescued a whole shelf of my mother's recipe binders this way. They had been sitting in a damp closet for years and smelled like a wet cellar. Some of them had green spots along the spine where moisture had settled the longest. After one treatment, they smelled like paper again. The deodorizing sprays made for fabric do not belong anywhere near paper, and professional book restoration costs more than most of those books are worth. A cloth, a bottle of peroxide, and 20 minutes of patience did what a restoration service would charge you a small fortune for. Number 14. Spray your shower curtain liner to kill the pink and black mold that grows along the bottom edge. That liner hangs in a warm, wet space every single day. The bottom edge sits against the tub where water pools and never fully dries. Within a few weeks, you see pink slime first, then dark spots. Most people throw the liner out and buy a new one. My mother never threw one out in her life. Lay the liner flat in the tub or hang it spread open. Spray the bottom third with hydrogen peroxide, both sides. Let it sit for 15 minutes, then wipe with a clean cloth. The mold comes right off, and the peroxide kills what you cannot see yet. I do this every couple of weeks, and my liner stays clear. A new liner costs a few dollars every time. A spray of peroxide costs almost nothing, and the liner you already have keeps working. No reason to fill a landfill with plastic because nobody told you a $1 bottle could clean it. Number 13. Soak kitchen sponges to kill the bacteria that make them stink. A kitchen sponge picks up bacteria from everything it touches, and within a couple of days, it is one of the dirtiest things in your house. The antibacterial spray companies want you to throw it out and buy a new one every week. My mother used the same sponge for a month. Here is how. Drop your sponge into a bowl of hydrogen peroxide for about 10 minutes. The peroxide penetrates the pores of the sponge and kills the bacteria growing inside. Squeeze it out, rinse it, and it is ready to use again. I do this every few days, and my sponges last 4 to 5 times longer than they used to. The smell is gone, the slime is gone, and I am not throwing money in the trash every week just because somebody decided sponges are disposable now. 1 bowl of peroxide costs almost nothing and saves you from buying a new sponge every other trip to the store. Number 12. Spray carpet to neutralize pet urine odor at the source. If you have ever had a dog or cat have an accident on the carpet, you know that smell does not go away easy. The urine soaks into the pad underneath, and regular carpet cleaner just handles the surface. Professional carpet cleaning services will charge you a serious amount per room for deep extraction, and even then the odor can come back within a week if the source is still there. But here is what works at home. Blot up as much as you can first with an old towel, pressing down hard to pull the moisture out of the pad. Then saturate the spot with hydrogen peroxide and let it sit for about 15 minutes. What the peroxide does is kill the bacteria that grow on the urine residue. Those bacteria are what actually produce the smell, not the urine itself. The urine dries, but the bacteria keep feeding on what is left behind, and that is why the odor keeps coming back even after you scrub the surface clean. Blot again with a dry towel after the soak. For old stains that have had months to set in, you may need to repeat it 2 or 3 times because the bacteria have had time to work deeper into the carpet pad. Be honest with yourself about how deep the stain went. A fresh accident responds in 1 treatment. A spot your cat has been using for 6 months might need a few rounds, and that is not a failure. That is just the reality of how deep the problem goes. I have used this on a rug my dog decided was his favorite spot, and the smell is completely gone. My daughter tried every fancy spray on the market for her cat's spot near the back door, spent more money than I want to think about. I brought over my $1 bottle, did 1 soak, and the smell was done. Those specialty sprays work a different way, and some of them are fine products, but they cost several times more, and you have to keep buying them. A bottle of peroxide does the job for pennies. Number 11. Run it through a front-load washing machine to strip out hidden mildew. If you own a front-load washer, you have probably smelled it, that sour, musty odor that hits you when you open the door. It comes from mildew growing inside the rubber gasket and in places you cannot see or reach. The appliance companies know this is a design problem. The door seal traps moisture after every cycle. Some of them sell their own branded cleaning tablets, special formulas you are supposed to run through the machine once a month. Those tablets cost several dollars each. I use hydrogen peroxide instead. I pour 2 cups of 3% peroxide directly into the drum, no clothes inside, and run a hot water cycle. While the machine fills, I spray the rubber gasket with peroxide, getting into all those folds where the water sits. I let it soak for a few minutes, then wipe the gasket down with a clean cloth. When the cycle finishes, I leave the door open to let the drum air out. The mildew smell is gone. Not masked, gone. The whole machine smells neutral again. I do this once a month and the odor has not come back. What I will not pretend is that this is a permanent fix. The gasket design on most front loaders traps water by nature. No cleaning product changes that. You still need to leave the door cracked after every load so air can circulate. The peroxide kills what is already growing in there, but the habit of leaving the door open is what keeps it from coming back. I would rather tell you that than sell you a monthly tablet subscription. The peroxide is the cure. The open door is the prevention. You need both. Number 10. Spray the inside of your laundry hamper to kill the sweat odor that builds up between washes. Your hamper sits in a corner collecting damp gym clothes, worn socks, and kitchen towels for days before you run a load. The bacteria feeding on the sweat and moisture multiply in that warm, dark space, and the smell soaks into the fabric of the hamper itself. Washing the clothes does not fix the hamper. Spray the inside walls and the bottom of the hamper with hydrogen peroxide once a week. If it has a cloth liner, pull it out and spray that too. Let it air dry before tossing clothes back in. The peroxide kills the odor-causing bacteria that soap and water leave behind. I used to wonder why my clean laundry smelled stale the moment I set it back in the hamper. It was the hamper, not the laundry. One weekly spray fixed it. The odor eliminator sprays they sell for closets and hampers just mask the smell with fragrance. Peroxide actually kills what causes it. Number 9. Spray entry points to create a barrier ants will not cross. This is different from wiping down a trail. This is about preventing the ants from coming in at all. Find where they are entering, usually a crack along a window frame, a gap under a door, or a seam where the counter meets the wall. Spray those spots with hydrogen peroxide and let it dry. The residue disrupts the chemical signals ants rely on to navigate. They reach that spot and turn around. The pesticide aisle is full of sprays and traps loaded with chemicals I do not want anywhere near my kitchen. I respray my entry points every few days during ant season, and it keeps them out. Not forever, I will be honest about that. Heavy rain washes it away, and you need to reapply. But for $1 bottle, that trade is worth it. Number 8. Pour down a garbage disposal with baking soda to kill the odor and the buildup. A garbage disposal that smells bad is not broken. It just has food residue stuck to the blades and the walls of the chamber where your regular rinse water does not reach. Pour half a cup of baking soda into the disposal first, then slowly pour in half a cup of hydrogen peroxide. It will foam up. That foam is reaching into the places water misses, under the splash guard, around the grinding plate, into the seams where bits of food have been sitting in the dark. Let it sit for 10 minutes, then run hot water through the disposal for about 30 seconds. The people who fix kitchen plumbing say most of the service calls they get for disposals are odor complaints, not mechanical problems. A little baking soda and peroxide once a week saves you the visit and keeps that drain smelling like nothing, which is exactly how a drain should smell. Number 7. Soak plastic containers to pull out trapped food smells. If you have ever stored leftover chili or curry in a plastic container, you know the smell never fully comes out. You wash it, you scrub it, and the next thing you put in there still tastes faintly like last Tuesday. That smell gets into the tiny scratches and pores of the plastic where dish soap and hot water cannot reach. Fill the container with warm water and add a generous splash of hydrogen peroxide. Let it sit overnight, at least 8 hours. The peroxide gets down into those scratches and breaks down the odor molecules that embedded themselves in the plastic. By morning, the container smells like nothing. Rinse it out, dry it, and it is ready to go. If the smell is particularly stubborn, tomato sauce is usually the worst offender. You can add a spoonful of baking soda to the peroxide soak. The combination gives it a little extra lift, but most of the time the peroxide alone does the job. The storage container companies would love for you to toss the stained ones and buy a fresh set every year. That is how they stay in business. I have containers in my cabinet older than some of my grandchildren, and they all smell clean because peroxide does what dish soap cannot. A good container does not need to be replaced just because it held spaghetti sauce once. Number 6. Pour a peroxide ring around your outdoor trash cans to keep ants from climbing in. Outdoor trash cans in the summer are an open invitation. Ants find the sticky residue on the outside, climb up the sides, and set up a trail from the can straight to whatever crack leads into your garage or kitchen. The pest control companies want a seasonal contract for that. You do not need one. Pour a thin line of hydrogen peroxide around the base of each trash can and along the ground where you have seen the trail. The peroxide destroys the pheromone path the ants follow. No chemical scent trail, no parade of ants. I do this every trash day in the summer, right after the truck comes. It takes less than a minute. After a rain, you have to reapply, but one bottle lasts the entire season. The chemical ant baits they sell for outdoor use leave poison on the ground where pets and children walk barefoot. Peroxide leaves water and oxygen, nothing else. Number 5. Spray inside shoes to kill the odor bacteria. Shoe odor is not caused by sweat. It is caused by bacteria that feed on sweat and multiply in the dark, warm space inside your shoe. The shoe deodorant sprays and inserts and powders are a whole industry built around a problem that hydrogen peroxide solves in 30 seconds. Spray the inside of the shoe, focusing on the toe area and the insole where moisture collects the most. Let it dry completely before wearing them, and I mean completely. Set them by a window or near a vent where air moves. The peroxide kills the bacteria on contact, and once they are gone, the smell is gone because there is nothing left to produce it. I do this with my gardening shoes every couple of weeks, and they have never smelled. My grandson's sneakers are a different story. Teenage boys have a talent for destroying shoes in ways science cannot fully explain. But even those improved after 2 or 3 treatments. The first round took the worst of it out, and by the 3rd round they smelled like ordinary shoes again. The whole shoe deodorizer aisle is built on the idea that you need a different product for your feet than for your kitchen counter. You do not. The bacteria are different, but the peroxide does not care. It kills them all the same way, and it does not leave behind that artificial pine or lavender smell that tells everyone in the room you had a shoe problem. Number 4. Spray inside your trash can to kill the odor that lingers after you take out the bag. You can wash a trash can with soap and water, and it will still smell by the next day. That is because the odor is not coming from the surface you just cleaned. It is coming from bacteria that got into the scratches and seams of the plastic where the bag leaked or where juice from the garbage settled. Hydrogen peroxide gets into those tiny grooves and kills what soap misses. Pull the bag out, spray the inside of the can with peroxide, and let it air dry. Pay attention to the bottom corners where liquid tends to pool, and spray the underside of the lid too, because the steam from warm garbage rises and the bacteria settle there. The scented trash bag companies make a fortune selling bags that mask this smell with artificial fragrance. They never solve it. They just cover it up until the next bag goes in, and then you are layering garbage smell on top of fake flowers, which is somehow worse than either one alone. A quick spray of peroxide once a week after you take out the trash, and you will never need a scented bag again. The can smells like nothing. That is the goal. Not lavender, not ocean breeze, not whatever they are calling the blue ones now. Nothing. A trash can that smells like nothing is a clean trash can. Number 3. Pour down slow drains to break up biofilm and kill the smell. That rotten egg odor rising from your bathroom or kitchen drain is not a plumbing problem. It is a biofilm problem. A slimy layer of bacteria builds up inside the pipe where food particles, soap, and grease collect. You cannot see it from above, but if you have ever pulled the stopper out of a bathroom sink and seen that dark, slimy ring around the drain opening, that is just the edge of it. The real buildup is further down. The drain cleaner brands sell caustic chemicals that burn through the slime, but they also eat at your pipes over time, especially older ones. Pour a cup of hydrogen peroxide straight down the drain. Let it sit for 30 minutes without running any water, then flush with hot water. The peroxide dissolves the biofilm without damaging the pipe and without filling your kitchen with fumes. I do this once a week in my kitchen sink, and the drain has not smelled in years. The bathroom sink, too. My guest bathroom only gets used a couple of times a month, and that is actually the one that builds up the fastest because standing water gives the bacteria more time to settle. Any drain that runs water regularly can build up that film, and the peroxide dissolves it without the fumes that make your eyes water. The heavy-duty drain cleaners tell you right on the label not to use them in old pipes, but they sell them to you anyway. Peroxide does not care how old your pipes are. It does its job and leaves nothing behind but water and oxygen. Number 2. Soak thermoses and water bottles to get rid of trapped odors that soap cannot reach. A thermos that held coffee or soup last week still smells like coffee or soup this week, no matter how many times you wash it with dish soap. The odor clings to the inside walls and the rubber gasket around the lid where your bottle brush barely touches. Fill the thermos with warm water and add a couple of tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide. Let it sit for an hour, then rinse. The peroxide breaks down the odor compounds that soap leaves behind, especially in stainless steel, where smells like to hide in the microscopic texture of the metal. I do the same thing with my grandchildren's lunch boxes at the start of every school year, and those things come out smelling brand new. My grandson's water bottle had a sour milk smell baked into the lid gasket for weeks. One peroxide soak, and it was gone. The container companies would rather you throw it out and buy a replacement than clean the one you already own. A perfectly good thermos does not need replacing because it smells like last week's soup. It needs 10 minutes and 2 tablespoons of peroxide. Number 1. Spray under the bathroom sink cabinet to catch mold before it spreads to the wall. The cabinet under your bathroom sink stays damp. The pipes sweat, the drain leaks a little, and nobody opens that door often enough to let the air circulate. Mold grows there quietly for months before you ever see it or smell it. By the time you notice, it has spread to the back wall of the cabinet. Open the cabinet, take everything out, and spray the entire underside of the sink, the back wall, and the floor of the cabinet with hydrogen peroxide. Let it sit for 20 minutes. Wipe it clean and leave the door open for an hour to let it dry completely. I found a patch of mold under my guest bathroom sink last winter that had been growing behind a basket of cleaning supplies I never moved. One spray, one wipe, and it was gone. Now I spray under there once a month whether I see anything or not. Prevention costs a penny. Remediation costs a fortune. That is what my mother would tell you. And she kept a house cleaner than anyone I know on less money than most people spend on coffee. 1 bottle, 20 tricks, not a single call to a service company or a trip down the cleaning aisle. Try one of these this week, just one. Then come back and tell me which trick surprised you the most. If this helped you, share it with someone who is still spending money on things they do not need. Subscribe if you want more of these. That brown bottle has been sitting under the sink since before most of us were born. It still works.